All right, so we got another Tubi original here, and you're always rolling the dice when you do Tubi originals, but lately they've been putting out some pretty quality things. So when I saw this was on there and it was the only place that you could watch it, I thought it looked interesting enough, and I always try to throw these on for 5 or 10 minutes to get a vibe, to see if I'm, connecting with it, and if I don't, I shut it off, and that happens here and there. I probably shut off maybe 10% of the things that I watch. And so this one is called Don't Look Back, or No Voltees, I think maybe is how you say this in Spanish. But that's the title that you're going to find it under on Tubi. And this is about two siblings who return home to their addled mother, who they're trying to determine whether or not they're going to put her in a home, who's going to take care of her. She can't take care of herself anymore, this and that. There's somebody who's taking care of her, something happens to him, and so they have to come home. This is very like The Dark and the Wicked. We've seen this kind of setup before. Relic, right, where there's an elderly person and the family comes home to try to help them to see like what's going on. Like, can they come home with them? Can they put them in a home? Or are they okay to be with themselves? They have to assess the situation, and then they deal with whatever comes. And typically it's like horror, but in the way of like dramatic family abuse and whatnot, and that's pretty typical for these kinds of films, and this is no exception. This is very similar in that way. I really enjoyed this film. I thought this was really well done. It did remind me of The Dark and the Wicked, but it had more of that Spanish horror flair to it. Spanish horror has a very specific feel to it, and this definitely hits that. There was another film called like Don't Listen that was on Netflix a few years ago. It has a similar kind of horror vibe to that. I know this is Argentinian, but the films of Demian Rugna, it's not that good. It doesn't have that quality, but his first film that I watched, which is called Terrified, which is a classic for me, it has some of those vibes to it. It's not that quality level, because that fucking film is fantastic. This one is very good. It's not that level of like classic for me, but it's a damn good watch, and one I really, really enjoyed, and I do recommend if you are into Spanish horror and you are into like family drama horror, which I'm like a huge fan of. It's one of my favorite subgenres of horror, whether it's like Hereditary or whatever. Like that's my, The Lodge. Those always end up in like my top 5 of the years is a movie like that, and this is one of those. I don't think this would probably make a top 10 or anything, because I've watched, I think this is my 207th 2024 horror film this year, so I've seen quite a bit, but it's still got 4 out of 5 on IMDb, which I think it has like 55, 60 other 4 or higher ratings from me this year. So, but it's a damn good watch for Tubi original. It's arguably my favorite. Earlier this year we had the movie, what's that movie called? Why can't I think of it right now? Lowlifes. We had Lowlifes this year, which I was like, this is easily the best Tubi original that I've ever seen. And then we've had other good ones this year as well, like Invasion and Slay, the drag queen vampire movie and that stuff. Like, Tubi's actually had quite a few good horror films this year, and this is probably my favorite of them. I actually might like this more than Lowlifes. This is a really good movie. I mean, they're pretty good in competition with one another right now. I really liked a lot of aspects of Lowlifes, and I really liked a lot of aspects of this one. So, yeah, I was very into this. I bought very heavily into the relationship between the brother and the sister. I thought their performances were really solid. I don't think you want to take a lot of what you see in this film literally. It is supposed to be symbolic and metaphorical for the story that they're telling, and they do a lot of like of these like match cut shots of the characters from the past and the present, and I think that tells the story very well for what they're getting at, and it's very obvious, it's very on the nose, there's nothing really subtle with that, but I like that because it is it packs a good punch when you know exactly what's going on, and it's not really left open for much interpretation. It does feel it does feel very impactful in that way. So I liked the horror, I liked the drama, I liked the performances, I liked the creepiness, the atmosphere. All of it really worked for me. So this is a big recommendation. If you're a Spanish horror fan, then I definitely think you should check this one out. It's free on Tubi. It's the only place to currently watch it. It's one I'll definitely have to show Kaylee. Unfortunately, she's not here next to me. She's actually in the kitchen in front of me making stuff, trying to be as quiet as she can over there, pressing little buttons, being adorable. But yeah, this is literally only on Tubi. It is a Tubi original. No other place you can watch it, rent it, anything. So definitely worth your time if you're into Spanish family drama horror, because this is quality stuff here, in my opinion. And definitely check it out. So yeah, you know, you take swings on these things. I watch all sorts of shit, and they end up being trash a lot, but I feel like no one's talking about this film. I feel like I've seen no one mention this at all. And it's just, you have to take the chances. You have to roll the dice. You have to press play. You have to see how it goes. And I'm glad I did on this one. This one was definitely worth my time and worth yours, in my opinion. So let me know. I'll see you in the comments. Adios.